Hey, 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 everybody. It is Rob Gauthier, the ET Whisperer, with the one and only Kalina Angel.
Hey, guys.
The beautiful, wonderful Kalina. I hope you guys can hear. If not, she'll be closer to the microphone. Before we get going on, but we are definitely going to be doing the open forum, the Maze Open Forum tonight. We got your questions in from the last 3 weeks. All of you who sent your questions in, we appreciate it. Thank you very much for sending them in. Everyone who has not, you'll have an opportunity. This is not the last one we're going to do. If you didn't watch the video that announced it or talked about it, always keep an eye out on our channel. If you subscribe and ring the top bell for all notifications, then no matter what, you will always get notified, letting you know when we're doing something like this well ahead of time. We'll have planned the live stream weeks ahead in advance, and we always put out about a 2 to 3 minute video, a 10-minute video, and it will always say open forum is coming, get your questions in, or something to that effect, to let you know exactly how to get the questions in and what type of questions format that will take and accept to ask questions. This month was pretty good. We only had to eliminate a few questions from the roster. So it actually went much better than our average, where we're chucking out, a quarter or so of everything. So thank goodness everybody's here tonight. I want to say hello to all of you guys. If I try to pronounce that name, I'm going to hurt myself or offend someone horribly. Goretti, I think. Goretti. I hope that's it. Hello. Kara, hello. Or Kara. See. I always say if it's not Bob, George, or Joe.
2 different ways.
Okay, well, if it's not Bob or Joe, usually I mess it up pretty horribly anyway. Sander Phoenix, hello, brother. Sander Phoenix, our good friend, was on the Enlightenment Evolution Hour 2 episodes ago. It was a great episode. If you guys want to check that out, It was great. Arlene, hello. Laura, hello. Oh, I said it correctly. Good. Desiree, hello. And hello, Arlene. Kim, hello. How are you guys? I see most of you popping in from YouTube. That's wonderful. We're also live streaming on our Twitch, which is Twitch ET Whisperer. If you check that out on Twitch, and my personal Facebook page, which very soon I'm not going to be using that to live stream anymore. I'm only going to be using the ET Whisperer Rob Gauthier Facebook page, and I know I've got tons of Facebook pages out there. I've got one for Treb, one for Aridif, one for Metatron, one for Nihal Collective, one for the Galactic Humans book, one for Benevolent Reptilian Human Hybrids book. But if Facebook doesn't let us merge all those pages to one, then I'm going to stick with the ET Whisperer one, even though my Rob Gauthier channeler has more followers there. I would stick with the ET Whisperer one just so that everyone can kind of find it. Hopefully they'll let me at least merge my Rob Gauthier channeler page versus the ET Whisperer one and let us merge those, but it doesn't matter. Either way, guys, I am going to be doing a lot of amazing stuff here in the near future. My Instagram presence will be phenomenal. My Twitter presence will be phenomenal. The Facebook presence, but Discord is where I'm trying to get everyone to go and check out. Our Discord server is amazing. We've got tons of channels in there. Channels for memes, channels to share your own channeling, channels for our Patreon members, channels for spiritual discussions, channels for our everyday discussions. We have channels literally for everything over there, and it's quite an amazing group of people. Our admin Spiky is there, which he's an amazing guy, and that's actually something real quick I'm going to do while we're all talking. I got to drop the Discord, the link to all my Discord people over there too for tonight. Yeah, so everything is going really, really well, guys, and I appreciate everyone who's here tonight. I know it's definitely been crazier time for some than others, but for the most part, everything's been super chill and super great. The baby's in bed. That's why Kalina's with us tonight, and she, unless Lilith happens to have a wake-up call.
She's been doing that a lot lately, so everybody knock on wood.
Yes, let's knock on wood. I don't know if you guys can hear Kalina or not, but she said Lily has been waking up a lot lately.
If she hears my voice, that's why I'm trying to keep it a little low, but let me know if you guys can hear. But if she hears me, oh yeah, she'll try to wake up.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear. Can you guys let us know if you can hear Kalina's voice from back there? Because she's further away than where she'll be later tonight. We're going to be moving the microphone when it comes time for the Q&A, so you can hear both of our voices equally. As she asks Treb and Aridif the questions, and I am answering them with Treb and Aridif, and then kind of doing that routine too. All right, sorry guys, 1 second here. I'm going to try to do something while I'm doing this.
Hey, Corinne is asking what time is the Q&A tomorrow that you and William are doing?
Yeah, for Patreon, we'll be doing it about between 9 and 10. William is out and about doing a musical festival for his work, doing an ATM there. So he's got to be there to fill it up with money and those things at musical festivals, as I'm sure you guys would know, is definitely a huge thing. So he had to be on deck for that. But I think we'll be starting between 9 or 10 in general. And sorry, real quick, guys, as I do this, I gotta let my Discord peeps know what's happening too, because I didn't get that link over there for the live stream, and I want to make sure they know that we're here right now so they can join us. But yeah, everything is going great. Everything's good, and I'm going to holler at all of you guys too here in a second. We have 270 members on our Discord server. I just looked.
Thank you for letting us know too that you guys can hear me.
Oh, good. They can hear you.
And I will be closer to the microphone soon. I just don't want to wake her up. She's got really good hearing.
Yes, and that is 9 to 10 Eastern time. Holy moly, look at this. Look what the cat drug in. Holy moly.
What's up?
I will show you what's up. Here we have the one and only Daniel Fisher art, an amazing artist, one who did one of the favorite arts out there with Treb and Aridif, of both Treb and Aridif together. I'm going to show that real quick after I get it set up here. Look at this. Oh, okay, that's the bad cop. There we go. Look at this. This is Daniel Fisher's art. He's an amazing artist, everybody. This was the art that he did with Treb and Aridif, so I hope you guys really enjoy that. Thank you, Daniel, for coming here. It's nice to see you. I haven't talked to you for a while, but that's amazing. Thank you for showing up, guys. Thank you all for showing up. I'm going to come back to the comments because I missed a whole bunch of you.
Do you want me to make the coffee?
Gomar, hello. Yeah, if you'd like to, Mom, that's great.
Wish I could hand you guys some coffee.
Yeah, coffee is not a bad thing. Seeking Balance 78. Hello. You're welcome, guys. I appreciate you guys being here. And that's never a problem. Doing this is something we want to do definitely more. And be able to send that energy out to everybody too. Hello, Corinne. Liam, hello. Anna, hello. Jessica, hello. Judy, hello. Tinfoil Hatter, you got 2 in a row. 2 live streams in a row. How about that? Tinfoil Hatter, our good friend who's been around this channel for a long time, missed almost all the live streams we've done in the last year. Just gets there in the last 10 or 15 minutes, sometimes not at all, but it's so good to see you here. And yes, it's really great. Here we go again. That's right. Yep, strange days that I found you guys. Beautiful. 9 to 10 Eastern time. Yeah, that's when we'll be starting for that for sure. Jessica, hello, hello. You guys are great, man. I'm glad everybody's here tonight. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being a part of this. I did want to make some announcements too as we get ready to start this thing. We have had an extraordinarily crazy month getting a lot of things ready to expand the work that we're doing here. Really focusing on getting content out and getting information out. And a lot of the things that we want to do is get out the information that we're getting out already, but make it more accessible and make smaller pieces of the larger works. Not everybody's going to come to Patreon. And even people in Patreon don't always have time to watch the extra 2 channelings a month. If we get enough people there, we want to go once a week over there. And we'd like to be able to take extracted clips from the really good information that tends to come from there. And because they're talking about one thing for long periods of time, it tends to be more intensive information too. So we want to be able to get that clips to YouTube. 5 if it's strong, Mom.
It is strong.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay,
good.
You look like a Bigfoot by the end of this.
Yeah, I already look like one, but I'll look a bit more like one. So we want to get that clips of information that's intensive and get it out there, get it accessible to everyone. Make sure you guys can see it. But there's a lot of stuff we want to do, and I'm not going to go through all of it. I did want to say the Enlightenment Evolution Hour has been back on, but the network is coming up soon. I'm already in talks with a few people. Kalina will start her show once she's ready. Yeah, and to put a hold marker on it, we're going to just call it what it used to be called, even though I have a strong suspicion she might change the name on us. But the Earth Experience with Kalina Angel will be her show when she starts. Oh, okay. She's not going to change the name. That's wonderful.
Having the Earth Experience, I can't get out of it.
Yeah, there ain't no turning back from that, and that's a beautiful thing. Our friend who's going to actually be on a show in July on the EEN, William, dear friend of mine, one of my oldest friends in the world. I've noticed since I was 4. He did a conspiracy theory show on our network before called Disclosure Now. And he was only able to do a couple episodes because he wasn't able to keep a weekly schedule at that time. He is going to be coming back to the network with his show Disclosure Now, which was an amazing show. He did the Billy Myers UFO case, and he actually talked to 2 different people. He talked to, what's his name, Mom? The guy who's Billy Myers. Robert Horn, thank you. Robert Horn, I think. Robert Horn was on his show and did the pro Billy Myers, and then the anti-Billy Myers guy was a mathematical guy who did some videos that he called Billy Myers Debunked or something like that. Scott went on with both of them and had really in-depth talks, really huge amounts of information. So his show is great. He's going to be coming back to the network. And we're going to have lots of guests anyway. So even if the network doesn't come together, actually, William's going to be bringing on Sierra as his co-host now. So it'll be nice.
I was talking about the
I know, but I'm saying it'll be nice to have her on too, as a bit of feminine energy in that masculine subject and show too. Yeah, Sierra is amazing. You guys will love her. We're going to be hosting all of those shows on the Enlightenment Evolution Network YouTube channel. So if you guys haven't checked that out, you can always go over there and subscribe because more stuff will be coming. But I'm still going to upload. Actually, I'm going to live stream all my Enlightenment Evolution Hour show, my show, on this page as well as on the other page, on the other YouTube channel for the network. But until the network comes, I'm going to focus it more here for now. Those of you guys who saw the last episode with Daryl Anka, that was a blast. That was an amazing, amazing thing. We had a lot of people in question, a lot of comments. A lot of people said they think it was one of the best interviews with Daryl that we had done, or that anyone had done. And I attribute that to me knowing Daryl for many years. And even though I haven't watched a ton of his channeling, I watched a lot when I first started to kind of compare it to what Treb was saying. But as a person, I've gotten to know him a little better, and him and his wife Erica are amazing human beings, and he's paved the way for a lot of us in the channeling community. So his show was really great too. I haven't, in my opinion, I haven't had a bad show yet, and William, our friend who helps with Patreon, his was the first guest, and then Phoenix Sanders, which is here with us tonight. Sander Phoenix, I always messed that up. Sorry, I'm used to ended up calling him Zephyr anyway. So he really was amazing. His show was amazing, and Daryl's was too. And next week we're gonna have Jim Charles. Well, what was that, Mom? You wanted to say?
Oh, well, it's a little bit off topic.
That's all right. We got time, and we got lots of people who want to hear.
Tell them about one of artists' amazing skills. So let's say hypothetically, again, everybody knock on wood as I say this. If the baby wakes up,
yes, then we won't have to worry about the live stream stopping.
As long as you have the questions open.
Yes, Treb can't do this, but Aridif can. When Aridif's in my body, he can actually work through the technology because he can open my eyes, but he can't do it when my body is speaking, and he can't do it when, he can do it when I'm walking around, I think. Didn't you say that?
Barely, I have to help him out.
I see. But yeah, so
he's gotten better, but he just can't talk at the same time.
Yeah, well, so much of the energy is focused in the vocal area. The rest of it's just kind of weakened down if it has to break. And I think the reason that they have to use my eyes shut when I'm channeling is because the visual cortex in my brain and the stimulation that causes my mind would clog it up with extra unneeded information. So Aridif can hold the fort down for Kalina if she has to go back to the baby.
We found it out one time because he back when we were using mainly Skype, he did a little Skype message to me. I was like, what is happening?
That was how Kalina found out that he was here.
Just like, what's going on here?
That was amazing. Living Nature Life, guys. If you guys want to check out an ASMR channel, our good friend Kyler has one right here on this channel right here, Living Nature Life. And he actually calls me Uncle Rob because I am the H around what his uncle should be. And
throw your link up there.
Discord or link for the channel
on YouTube if possible, because if you go on my channel, you'll see that the one and only public playlist that I have is, all the different nature sounds and things, because that's what helps keep me in my calm space. I love that. It just is soothing, and I also like to see what people create.
And if you want to share that link, Kyler, we'll share it up on the wall. We'll let it through the administration part so people can check that out.
I want to put it in my playlist too.
Absolutely. And coming through some of the subjects here, guys, too. Hello, Marky Mark. How are you? Good to see you here. Bear. Hello, Bear.
I was about to say a mom joke. I was going to say, are the Funky Bunch here too?
Yeah, the Funky Bunch.
You probably have never heard that one before.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Every middle-aged person ever.
Bear says, salutations, glad Daniel Fisher message to get in tonight. You do wonderful work. We all agree on that. Daniel, you're an amazing artist. Thank you for putting your energy here. Electra D Solar System, hello. Deborah, hello. Kim, hello. Jessica, hello. I think that's everybody. If I missed you, I'm sorry. You pop in and say hi. I'll say hi again when I see you. But so yeah, that's the show, the network. we ended up having a missed group channeling class today due to some internet issues that we had. Hopefully those are solved, but we are going to do that every month. If you were on the list of people who were there, we're going to be making that up next month, plus you'll receive a free one. But if you guys are interested in learning how to channel, we do carry those every month. And those are at the end of the month, and they're also during the day, so all of our good friends from Europe can make it, and our friends from Australia might have to stay up late, but you'll be able to make it if you can do a late night. And then and it's also on the weekend. It's on a Saturday, so that most people's work schedule will help allow them to stay up late or get up early depending on where you are. It's 11 a.m. for all of you Pacific coasters out there in California and Oregon and Washington. God help you guys for 11. If you can do 11 in the morning channeling classes, that's great. So that's going on. Yeah, and that's it, guys. We have our Patreon that we do all the time, but that's about it. We really have been blessed in our community to have as many great people that we've had. All of you guys who are commenting, all the people who showed up for the shows that we've done, for the live streams we've done, for the Patreons. We really are blessed, and we just want to thank you guys. All these beautiful comments that you share, all of the energy behind that you guys share is really amazing, and we're very, very excited that you guys are a part of this. We're going to get to the channeling soon. Kalina is going through the rest of the questions to make sure that all of them are qualifying the guidelines that we had set up for the questions to make sure everything's good. But I'm going to go through the chat. Oh, absolutely, Daniel. Oh, look at that. More Aridif art to share. Yay. Oh, my word. We can't wait, brother. That would be amazing.
Did you see this one?
Julia, hello, hello.
I just...
Oh, no, I did not, but thank you for showing that. Do I feel the energy? Yeah, see, with Treb and Aridif, it's really weird how this works. When I first started, I could always feel energy. And understanding now what I know, I realized that the energy I was feeling before I met Treb was actually Treb, and that was about 2 or 3 months before I connected to him. It was an energy that felt like it was so big, it was leaning on me, and it wasn't uncomfortable or painful. I call it heavy, but heavy also has a connotation of bad, and it wasn't bad. It was just extremely powerful. And I was doing a lot of work on myself and meditation. And then after I connected to him, I could feel his energy around me all the time, but it was very subtle, very subtle. Like I could feel his presence, like as if you have someone across the room and you know that they're there, but you can't see him, you can't hear him, can't talk to him. It was like that. And then once I started channeling more and started channeling professionally, where I was doing it every day instead of 2 or 3 times a week, that's when it really started picking up. And once Aridif came in, then it was a whole new level. At one point in about 2014, after me and Kalina had moved in together and started our relationship, I had at that point started conscious channeling. I had been practicing on it. And at that point, I was able to both connect to their energy directly, connect with their consciousness directly, and I was able to bring them through. When I brought them through, I was there, I was conscious, but it was still very strong, their presence in front.
It was wild.
It was crazy.
And it came in differently. Can I ask you a question, put you on the spot?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
What made you decide to stop pursuing the conscious aspect of channeling?
That's a good question. The reason I stopped doing that is because even if I got good at it, I don't think I would ever want to conscious channeling, because I had started presenting the channeling to people in our community through a trance. And it's not that I don't trust myself. if you channel, you have to trust yourself, even if you're a deep trance channeler. But to have my own mind as a part of the equation, I don't know if I'd be able to channel.
You mean like a filter?
Not just a filter, but me being there presently. If I have a bad day where, you know, my son's in the hospital or something's going on with the baby or Kalina's sick or one of my family members is going through some crazy stuff at that time, I can't guarantee that I wouldn't have filtration issues or be able to channel even. When I go into my deep trance, I go so far out of the experience that I'm not even there. And that's another reason I do the radio show, because I enjoy this with you guys. And that's why every time I do a live stream, I won't shut up for the first half hour to an hour. And everyone's like, God, can we get to channeling? And I'm still going, because I don't get this time with everybody. 90% of my time is spent in channeling state where Treb and Aridif are communicating and I'm kind of in the back seat. So you
get to listen to it the next day with anybody else who missed the live stuff.
Yeah. And it, to me, I think the conscious channeling is good for me. I can still connect with their energies pretty easily. If I'm having a rougher time because I haven't practiced conscious channeling, I do have to go off into a quiet place to be able to consciously like hear direct information and answers, the in-depth stuff. But I can still feel them all the time. Their presence there all the time. Since the baby, it's been less, but that's also, like I've explained to a lot of people, because I put both feet into the earth energy more than 1 foot in the ether and 1 on the earth, like I had done so long before. Like all the time since I started channeling, even some points in my first couple of years, probably more etherical than I was even earthbound. But once she came to earth and all the things we experienced with her, and having her 2 surgeries before she was 2, and all the things that's just happened with her, it's been 2 feet in the earth, you know, got to be present, got to be here, got to be aware. So that's why I have to go into a quiet room now. But before that, I didn't even have to. I would just kind of close my eyes for a couple seconds and feel into their energy and get the answer like that quick. So yeah, I still feel their energy strongly. When I'm doing something that really excites me, then their presence is full blast. I can feel Treb smiling through my face. Aridif makes this little noise through me sometimes when I'm really excited, and Aridif's very present. It's like a sound, and Treb does his beep thing.
You all hear it when he comes back in.
Yeah, every time I stop channeling and I'm coming out of the state, right before I do that, Treb is helping kind of guide my energy back.
That kind of growling purr that you guys hear at the end, that's Treb.
That's Treb. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I feel the energy very much. All right, Corinne says, question for Rob. I followed your advice in the channeling class and now I started. I am speaking in languages and do feel presence like you said. I want...
Oops, sorry. Clicked on it too fast.
No, that's fine. I want to hear it too. Do you hear them speaking in languages, like meaning tongues? I have had that happen through me, but it's not with Aridif or Treb. It's with other entities. There was a group consciousness that I channeled for this person probably 5 or 6 years ago, and their name was Apex. And that was like the name of the group that they had. They were very powerful.
I remember Apex.
Collective consciousness. Yeah, and it was only for one person, I think, is the only person that they came through for.
I liked them. They were cool.
Yeah, they were cool.
They're probably still chilling, flying around somewhere.
Yeah, because they're always connected to Earth, so they're around. But
a good example of different ETs that hang out and get along from all backgrounds.
Yeah, they're a true collective of different groups of ETs. So they have like greys and mantoids and humanoids and reptilians and insectoids.
Very diverse. Really amazing. I like them a lot.
But when they would come through, there would be this other language that would come through sometimes, and that language is used for calibration. There's a lot of people who do light language, and that's what I think you're talking about, the language that comes through. Yeah, the speaking in tongues, I think, comes in two forms, like Zephyr's saying right here. Speaking in tongues, I think, is a higher self concept originally. Like the higher self brings that to you when you're connecting to that source energy or the higher energy. And when that happens, the experience of the sound is what helps calibrate your own self, your body, your energy, and all that other stuff to kind of help you connect more to whatever it is that you're trying to get out of your life, whether you're trying to heal yourself or whether you're trying to do channeling or whether you're trying to connect with certain guides better. So it could be from your higher self, or it could be an actual ET language. And most of the ET languages that are spoken to the galaxy, if they have a spoken language, that means they're probably just coming out of fourth density or just towards the late version of the fourth density, maybe early fifth density. Most races go to telepathy by mid to end of fourth and still use like a spoken language between. But even at that point, they're still so much further advanced than we are, because we're just in the baby beginning, like splashing water at the kiddie pool in fourth density. So that energy is way different. And their languages would have evolved to a place where all the sounds had meaning to calibrate the body, the environment, the technology, whatever it is. So using another ET's language can be useful, especially if those ETs are connected with the same DNA formatting. So like all the 12 races where we have our DNA from, if we're able to speak their own language, that would be great. Now, I will say some higher dimensional beings, fifth and sixth density, do still have a verbal language, and they hold it as tradition. Kind of like Treb's race will have food where they eat it once in a while, like when they're celebrating something. And when that happens, it's a very special thing for them. They don't eat like we eat for nutrition, and they don't do it like that. But they'll bring food back to their experience for the tradition and for giving honor to themselves and their past selves and all of that stuff too. So it really is an incredible thing. And if you can do the light language, I would suggest practice it until you do it, or do it as much as you can. It's not going to hurt you, even if it's a language that's outside of your own, like the races that are connecting deeply with the DNA and stuff. It's still not going to affect you in a negative way. So I would say, if you can, practice. And if you can't get it out, like if you can't just get the light language to start, the best tip I have is just start humming, or just start like singing, or do something with your voice that activates your throat chakra, and feel into it. And even if it's not, like some people have practiced months and months and months, and all they can get is these weird sounds, like a guttural puking sound almost. And that's just because it's trying to get through the vocal. So just keep practicing. And it looks weird, sounds weird. Daryl said on the interview too that we were talking about, when people try to channel, don't worry about looking weird, sounding weird, acting weird.
There are other things that can happen too. Yeah. I have a particular group of entities who connect through my womb, which sounds weird, but I thought there was something crazy going on with me. And Noah's like, I noticed there was communication as their way of kind of helping me to get my attention so that I could kind of sink into that wavelength. So pay attention to your body too. Some beings will communicate by, you might think you're having like some twitching or some weird, you might be thinking, oh gosh, I've got some weird neurological thing or physical thing going on. And, but after it continued to happen, it wasn't unpleasant at all. And it's not something you usually really are supposed to feel generally. It actually feels like when I was pregnant with Lily and she would kick. And it was really amazing, because if I'd think about them, I would feel that, or if there was something that I was excited about, that would happen. I could go on, but once I started to see the pattern, it was a very positive thing, and it's this new group of entities I've been working with. Well, technically they've been there, but we've become closer. I'll talk more about that later on my own channel, but that's the point. Is that there's different forms and ways that entities will communicate with you guys, whether it's vocal, if it's physical. You know, you might find yourself humming, you might find yourself dancing, you might end up like Daniel Fisher and doing artwork. You might be writing poetry. There's so many ways, and it could come in ways like some people, you know, have a numerical experience. They just have this rush of like the mathematical and shapes, you know, languages. So to me, that light language is expanded to not just verbal sounds, but broadening like the possibilities, because you might not even be aware that you are actually channeling or receiving currents of energy in different avenues. And the human body is an extraordinary, it's like a very sensitive receiver, and different people are going to pick up different things depending on what's the most connected, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to bring that part up.
Well, it's important too to add with what Kalina said. The reason they come through womb is that it's a hybridization program. It's not just like, hey, I'm getting your attention and kicking the womb, because I know that some people can kind of perceive a sexuality through that too, and I'm sure there are parts of that too that are involved with people who go through hybridization programs in some forms with some races. But that's kind of an important note to say too with the whole womb thing. I know it's actually pretty common for a lot of women to have sensations who are in the hybrid programs in their second chakra areas.
Yes. So, I have had a lot of hybrid babies, both ET and Earth reptilians.
Yeah, so it's definitely something. But if that's happening with you and you're in a female body, there could be a chance that responsiveness is from that too. And Mark says right here too, Rob, in recent years, my lucid dreaming experience are constantly about being in range of alternate realities, worlds, and trying to find my way home. Yeah, home is not this version of Earth. This could be a lot of things. Sometimes our souls split up into multiple things, multiple fractals, and the larger fractal or the most focused on fractal and the oversoul can be the one that feels home. And this one might not be that one. It doesn't make your life any less valid. It doesn't make your connection less valid. It doesn't mean that anything here isn't worth exploring. It just means your soul's doing a dance in multiple places. And sometimes it's hard to focus on, but it's also your higher self's way to show you the diversity of experiences that you can have. I just spoke with someone last night who does energy work, and actually him and his partner are going to be on my show too here in the near future. We haven't set a date yet, but they have a very high level experience where they're going into that fifth density energy, and it's so unexplainable by human words, standards, or ideas that really there's no way to describe it. But what you're feeling is something like that. That would be my best guess. There's a lot of great things that can be. It's also a lot of split consciousnesses that happen. I mean, literally, it could be infinite things. But if I were to guess, I would say it's probably something to that effect too. Hello, Crystal. Hello. Welcome. Nice to see you here. I'm going through here. Philip's subjective life. Hello. John Creek. Hello, brother. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Ultima Undo, hello. Everybody's coming in. Thank you guys. And if I haven't said hi, please make sure to say hello. Sankofa, hello. Lucha Red, Taro, hello. Julie, hello. All right, I think I caught up on everybody. But yeah, guys, so it is getting to the point where we're coming around towards the hour that we've been on. We've been on 40 minutes, and I don't want you guys waiting too long, so we're going to end up getting closer to the time so we can jump in. Actually, I got to do something before we do that too.
Do you want to answer a few of these? I can throw up a few. We can. Really interesting experiences that people get, like Jessica gets tones in her ears. I get that too.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead, Mom. I'm sorry. I was in the middle of.
I'm just showing different comments that people were discussing.
Oh, yeah. Closed eye visuals.
Just the different ways that the energy is expressing themselves to everyone.
Yes. I've been having really closed eye visuals, almost like an animated GIF of sorts. I can feel something calling me, but not sure. Playing with crystals during meditation, that's great. It's a good idea to do the crystals. They can really help project energy, receive energy, transmute energy. Crystals are a great tool if you're open to them. If you have the mindset like, oh, crystals are a little too, out there for me, it's a little too woo, then it will never really be helpful unless you can cultivate some of that sense.
I'm just flashing up.
Yeah, I was going to say
people's experiences, but if you want me to go back to you, just let me know.
Yeah, I'm. Go back to the last one after I read this one here real quick. Sorry. Pure musical tones. Yes, Zephyr is a musician, but also clairvoyant. He shared a lot of his story on the episode. I think it was 120, episode 120. Zephyr Sander Phoenix, and he's also a musician. So that musical energy and channeling is one that almost every great musician. Well, I mean, every great musician channels the music if they're writing it, even if they're just playing it. But I think when your creation of music that's internal, external, and then you bring it forward like that, it's definitely something huge. If you could go back to last one, John's light language one. Sure. Light language is multi-dimensional and super encoded. It often activates your light body and DNA. So the sounds are just a piece of it. It carries tremendous amounts of information. Yes, and John, absolutely correct to that. John was the one I was telling you guys that I was talking to about light language just a few days ago, and how it was an interesting segue. And him and his partner will be the ones who are on the show too. So thank you, John, for adding that. Yeah, we're just chatting right now. We'll be channeling pretty soon.
Though.
Mm-hmm. Tonight is the night for the open forum. You guys got your questions in, and we got them. We're ready to get them asked and answered. A clear tone, but usually just fades out quick. Don't know what it means. Well, could be a lot of things. Most of the time when you're hearing tones, it's usually either you're observing the surrounding energy around you, or you're receiving something. I saw a comment too that said someone was hearing tones in their ear. They know it's not tinnitus, but they also received like a download or some form of information or a psychic awareness or even a voice. I can't remember what it was that they heard, but that's very, very common when they're connecting with you in that way. It's very easy for that energy to come through in a way that's going to be psychically connected with, or the energy of the psychic consciousness connects with sound vibration, because literally sound is a byproduct of vibration. Hearable sound is a byproduct, and everything is vibration. So sound and matter are pretty much the same thing. The only thing that determines the difference in that is that sound is something that we put into this box of tones of that vibration that we're able to hear. And that really is the only discerning factor between the two, at least on a human perspective. Yes. So, and Crystal, you're on Facebook, so I'm not sure if everyone's able to see your comments. If there's other people on Facebook, they might be able to see it, but we don't have a ton of people here watching through Facebook. Most everybody's here on YouTube. If you want to join the chat and get some answers back from everybody else too, feel free to join us on the YouTube if you want to, and that's signed, and the link should be on that post too. So you can join us here if you want to chat with everybody else. I'm just not sure how many people can see it. We have a software where we're able to see everybody's comments from all three of our platforms, and that really helps us, but for you guys, not so much. Feeling energies.
Sorry,
no, feeling energies.
I did go back and.
Oh, it's all right.
I feel like Kara's. This is, I think, very important. Lee Harris talks about how important this is too, to keep a journal. So Kara said, "What do you thinking about when you hear those times, like the frequencies?" Because sometimes that's how our guides communicate with us.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think for me, in my case with the womb, it was creating the womb is a very sacred space, and the memories of Lily, and when she was in my womb kicking, is a very emotional experience for me. So it was a really smart way to get my attention, because I was like, okay, do I need to tell Rob something? Is there something going on I don't know about? But no, it wasn't that.
Well, it brings back the best, memories of life, and
it is a very positive,
strong emotional bond with it.
Absolutely, and it started out very subtle. Like, I think Deborah, was it Deborah here? Yeah. So, okay, yeah. So that wasn't amazing, because I didn't expect anything like that, because I was more used to things like tones and flashes in my mind's eye, and feeling presence, or especially channeling through writing and things like that. So I've been having unique sensations, and I noticed, let's see, where did it go? I'm trying to find. So Carl was talking about feeling energies that he did when he was a kid and didn't know any clue about it, which he found funny. And I've noticed that I've been kind of reclaiming a lot of stuff as a child as well. It also helps, by the way, I journaled a lot when I was younger. I'm curious, have you guys felt experiences that you may have had as a child through connections, psychic phenomena, or things that you maybe didn't even realize you were picking up on? Have you had flashbacks? Because as you know, children carry much less resistance, and therefore they're able to communicate and see things. I definitely think Lily sees a lot going on around us that we don't see. I feel them, but I don't see them. I'm just gonna go through and read. Kim says, I kept a dream journal. I get so much info when sleeping, mostly psychic predictions. Those are amazing. I used to keep a dream journal, but I get woken up every morning by a toddler. For those of you who've gone through the toddler phase, you know how that goes. So I'm not really, by the time I am able to get to it, I forget everything, but I cannot tell you enough how valuable that is, because it's very easy to forget. And the more you dream journal, the more you'll retrieve the information. I'm just going through and showing. Yep. Jessica says, I've always had psychic experiences ever since I was a child. Me too. Whoops. Sometimes as these, sometimes as I'm getting ready to flash up on the screen, the sentence, the whole thing moves, and so sorry about that, Kim. You're answering somebody. Okay. Here's what I was trying to show. Deja vu. More in the teenage years. Yep. That's some heavy teenage years myself.
Yeah, those are the fun years, aren't they?
Yeah. I definitely, I kept dream journals and I wrote a lot of poetry back in the day. I still do, but not as much as I used to. When Rob and I were first moving in together, his eyes were enormous when he saw how much I'd written. I had boxes and boxes of things that I'd written. And I said, I got rid of most of it too. You should have seen how much it was when I was a kiddo.
Yes, so, and hello everybody who's just coming in. And I am America. Hello.
Wow.
I did not say hello yet to Karks either. Karks number 000. Hello. Don't recall anything as a child, but when I do recall, I almost died at 4 and recall the experience like it was yesterday.
Wow.
Started seeing angel number at 14. That's intensive, yeah. Near-death experiences do crack open the psychic realm for a lot of people because it really eliminates that consciousness division that happens above the lower fractal consciousness and kind of connects up to the higher fractal consciousness. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of that going on, and in almost everybody who I've talked to who's had near-death experiences. Now some were to the point where they had connected with such an accident in their near-death experience that it caused brain damage, and they're going through like a traumatic head injury rehabilitation, and some of their psychic energy opens up, and it's very hard for them. I've had 4 or 5 people who come to me with these things and get channelings with Treb and Aridif because they're not sure. It's like they know some things are real, but they're not sure what their mind's creating because they have had hallucinogenic experiences due to the brain trauma. But I always think in those specific cases, when it comes to that, that it's not always actual hallucinations that they're seeing. I think they're seeing psychic imprints, thought forms of theirs or others. I think they're seeing something that's leading them to something bigger or something more of themselves, even if they tend to be gruesome. There's a guy out there on the internet right now, Martin Cabello III, and he goes online and just speaks about all these topics. And a lot of people think he's insane. He speaks and he states clearly, you know, I have autism. I've had a severe head trauma, and all of these things. But some of the spiritual insights that he has are just tremendous. And some of the memories he has are also very outlandish and kind of out there. A lot of it deals with sexual traumas and reliving them or projecting them onto children in the local area. And he sees himself as a protector of these kids. But even this, I think, has a consciousness behind it that's centered in his own trauma, either unfolding or someone he loved who went through that trauma. Something happened to him, I think, as a kid, and he's replaying a lot of that. And I think he's doing that to try to work through his trauma. And then these beautiful spiritual insights where he's mixing these consciousnesses of light and body and running them through a mental body, through the physical aspects, and the mental body dealing with all sorts of the quantum physics measuring and things like that. That's actually quite amazing. And I feel, you know, I don't want to feel bad for anyone. I don't want to to do that when someone's not feeling bad about their experience. It's like people who see Jeremy, my son, and they're like, oh, this poor guy, you know, he's crippled in a wheelchair and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, don't feel bad for him. He's fine. He's happier than you are, most likely. So I don't want to feel bad for him, but I feel for him going through some of these really rough experiences. And I think the brain definitely has a huge part of the way we process the consciousness that comes through us. But I think we're led to those experiences where we do process differently through the brain for a lot of reasons. And this can literally be said about cerebral palsy, about autism, about a lot of things where the mind processes differently. That their whole experience of reality is different. And that's because the brain is helping them achieve that state that they desire to have in reality, that normally they wouldn't have. So it's really amazing. Okay. All right, guys, I know we've been here for almost an hour. I'm going to call it. We're going to get ready to neutralize. Colleen will have some questions ready by the time I get back. I don't like confusing people who just come into the live stream, so we've created this little poster that's akin to, hey, we'll be back when we get an X amount of minutes or whatever. Let me find the one. I know we have two of them. This is one of them. Oh, let me get these. Let me take this comment off so it's not covering it. All right. All right, I'm going to take one more question because I just saw Kara has an autistic child. They're wonderful, wonderful beings. So many people who we've met with autism are amazing beings who just process the world in such a beautiful way a lot of the time. All right, Corinne, we're going to take this last question before we do. Can't understand why few channelers say Ukraine war is a lot of propaganda and we'll say hooray for Russia. I see a victim in the dark, perpetrator, Russia TV show. Yeah. See, these topics are really hard because they're filtered through so many human beliefs. This is why this is something that was really hard for me, seeing a lot of channelers in our community who channel these beautiful beings and beautiful consciousness. And then all of a sudden, you know, when 2019 came around, then all of a sudden people split into two groups, right? Well, three groups. The groups who really wanted things one way, the other group that really wanted it the opposite way, and then people who were just like, I think everybody should do their own thing and not worry about it too much, and just see what goes on and you know that. But people who took one route or the other on the more extreme sides of the group that wants it this way or the opposite way, I noticed that some of these people who channeled also brought that through in their channeling. And I'm not saying it's a bad reflection. It's just, it was such an intense time for so many people. It obsessed their every thought. That's all they could think about. Am I going to die today? Am I going to get someone sick today? Or why is the government holding me hostage in my own house? And that was the only thoughts that people could have because they were living through such an intense experience. And I think that a lot of people are still going through that. And I think a lot of people have allowed their own consciousness and the channeling to be affected to a degree where it still comes off. Now, about that specific topic, Russia, Ukraine, unless you live there, you'll never know, because the TVs are agents of propaganda. They want to get you into the information that they want to show you. And with the 2019 era, both sides of the media, the progressive and the conservative, really broke our trust. They really harmed our ability to trust what they say in the news. So, you know, people say people who don't believe that there's war going on, they're conspiracy theorists. They might be, but they also might be people who are very badly wounded by the fact that they've been lied to by the news media of their choice, or the news media of the opposite choice that was just so hard for them to watch for 3 years, of 2 news agencies telling them the exact opposite thing, when seemingly, when you're looking at something like a pandemic, there should only be one truth. And that ripped apart, and that it was meant to happen that way. We had to go through that because we're at the end of third density. 2021 was like, hey, this is the last wave of energy in the transition between third and fourth density. Here it goes. So we had to get uncomfortable. We had to get out of that system of duality, not to remove it, but we had to go through the extreme versions of that. So I really think that it's just a part of that happens. And it sucks. It's unfortunate that there's a lot of drama there, and some people can't feel comfortable in what they see in the news. But, you know, it is what it is. It's part of that thing where, you know, William and I talked about it on the radio show we did, where he said he's trying to stay away from the news. I've been doing that a lot too, because the things I see there on both sides are triggering to me emotionally. So I try to just stay away from it. And I see enough to know what's going on from that perspective, but I also don't go too deep into it with me, because so much of that frustration from the last few years is relived repetitively. So anyway, guys, I'm going to be done talking about world events. I'm going to start getting ready to channel. I love you guys. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for all the questions, everybody. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the love. Thank you guys all for being here. I am going to go get ready to channel. So here is our special little, our little, what do you call it, graphic that's here, telling you we'll be right back. We're going to mute down, jump out of here for a minute. We'll be back in about 10 to 15 minutes or so. And while we're there, you're going to enjoy the world's catchiest and yet probably bonkiest music that we have, and the only one that won't drive you 100% crazy while we're doing it. Yes.
I call it the happy wage elevator music.
It's actually called Into Space, so it's actually very similar. Yeah, it is. I like it better than all the other choices too. I don't know if that's too loud to cut off our voices or not. But this is the music you'll be hearing for the next few minutes. If anyone comes in, guys, too, through the chat and ask, hey, what's going on here? Where's Rob? Is the live stream over? Hey, has it started yet? If you guys can let them know, that would be great. Kalina will be working on that, and I'll be neutralizing. So I love you guys. Thank you guys for being here. We'll see you in about 10, 12 minutes. Love you. going to do a little sound check before we start as we reposition ourselves and we reposition the microphone. So, can you hear me? Can you hear me and Kalina?
Can you guys hear me?
All right, can you hear us both well? Is it fuzzy? Is it bad? Does it sound weird? Let us know. Let us know how it sounds, and then we'll get to the getting. We had to reposition ourselves so that we could do the Q&A. All right, yes, yes, yes. Sounds clear enough, guys? Both of our voices sound clear enough? Perfect. I think that's a go. All right, guys, I'm going to take out my headphones. I'm going to turn off the rest of the internet stuff. Malik. Hello, Malik. I have tried to find your email. Kalina's tried to find your email. None of us could find it still, if I remember correctly.
Which email did he send it to?
I don't know.
I actually did look for it.
If you feel comfortable putting your email up, it would be filtered and captured by the...
Shoot me a message through Facebook.
Well, are you on Facebook, Malik?
It's easy to find me. I'm the only Kalina
Yeah, she's
angel.
the only Kalina angel in the world. Angel with
I shouldn't say that. Some bot somewhere is going to be rubbing his little hands together.
If you want to do that, Malik, if you want to contact her via Facebook, that's fine. Or if you want to put your email up in the chat, we would be able to see it either way. But let me know about that, because there's some things I wanted to check in with you about your beautiful homeland. All right, I'm going to go ahead and check, and if it shows up publicly, I'll copy it and erase it real quick.
Okay, and I have the questions from the forum ready to roll. Thank you, everyone, that sent in your questions. I know some of you guys have been waiting quite a while for these to get asked.
Can you check the actual feed? Because I'm not on my admin account, so I wouldn't be able to see it if it does pop in.
Just a second. Let me go to...
It would be a hidden message from Malik, which is an email. Can you see it?
Oh, you want me to get it? I'll lose. Okay.
No, just go to just go to the YouTube page itself. Okay. If it's there, then we'll be able to see it in a minute. I want to make sure we get it before we leave.
Wait, I'll show you. I'm trying to get my... There it goes. Oh. It was working. I had to quickly mute it because it started echoing immediately.
All right. Did you get the email in the chat?
In the chat?
No. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how. How is your microphone turning on at all? Oh, I see. It's
picking up through there.
It's reverberating.
And it's playing on the YouTube.
Okay, yeah. Look in the chat, and there would be a comment that's not let through. It's an email. Do you have it?
Let me look through the...
Okay. Sorry, guys. We got to do this quick.
I see something that says it's right there.
But you don't see it between...
I will put it here.
Okay,
no, I don't.
Give me a second. Let me open up my master account here.
Can
Sorry,
you,
guys.
Malik, are you able to...
Well, hold on. I'll be able to find it in a second. I just got to open up my ET Whisperer account. Okay, right there.
What am I supposed to do?
Nothing. I'm going to do it. Just 1 sec. Oops. That was not...
I don't even remember what it's regarding, though.
I do.
Okay.
All right. Let me check. Okay, it didn't come through, unfortunately. That's all right.
Can you message me real quick? I can pop open my Facebook again.
Yeah, if you have Facebook and can do it through there, that's great. If you don't, then we'll figure out another way to do it. Either way, it's fine. But we're gonna...
That's like the number one way people get through to Rob is through me. And it's funny because I'm not even on Facebook every day.
I'm also gonna put in my old email, which means I would get it.
Heck yes, effortless groove got me dancing.
All right. I don't know if you can see that, but you can send an email there too, or try to get a hold of Kalina on her Facebook, and her Facebook is this.
Put on some incense.
All right, I am going to shut that down. That way.
Which one you feel like smelling?
Whichever
Into the Night or Lavender Rosemary?
Whichever one you feel is best, Mom.
Which do you guys want to smell etherically? You want to smell Lavender Rosemary or Into the Night? This is from a brand called Maroma. It's so good. I found it at our natural food store, but I'm serious. Sometimes you'll be able to psychically pick up on smells. So what do you guys want? That's a fairly common. Lavender all day. Lavender, all right. We'll do the lavender rosemary.
All right. Thank you, Malika. I'm sorry, too. I know it's a pain in the neck to send that email, but Greenland and Iceland are the two places that have called me for so long, and knowing someone who lives there will give me some opportunity to ask some technical questions about visitation and or getting homes in the region.
Somehow groveling and allowing us to move there, no, probably it's not legal, right?
Well, I know for Greenland or Iceland for sure, you can't live there unless you're married to an Iceland native.
Well, we can't in Greenland, right?
I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Anyway, guys.
Who wants to switch?
I'm going to take a couple breaths again.
Who wants to have American citizenship? Crazies.
Well, I'm going to take another couple breaths, guys, to neutralize. Clean is going to finish this, and then we're going to start in just about another minute, guys. I know we've been closer to there for an hour and a half, but we're actually going to start here in a minute.
We're not legally married yet, so Rob and I are available but not available. Just saying. We could be one big happy family.
Available for citizenship.
Exactly.
No,
Rob would do it too. Oh my gosh. We put on this Iceland 4K. It is amazing. Just type in Iceland 4K and you'll see all this footage. You guys will cry. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And the way it's shot, it's like you're astral traveling. Anyway, I'm gonna shush. I got the incense going.
Yeah, I'm gonna get ready too, guys.
Everything's all romantical. I'm gonna light a candle too. You guys are gonna feel like you're on the best day ever.
And in honor of channeling Treb and Aridif, and that we have Daniel here with us tonight, we'll put up this beautiful art of Treb and Aridif.
I was actually planning on putting that up too.
Beautiful.
Earlier.
Great minds think alike. All right.
Beautiful. Look at this, sweetie.
Beautiful. Yeah, tonight we were going to come on camera, but with the internet issues earlier today and with the time sneaking away with us, with our kid as per usual, we just didn't have the time to set everything up and to make sure there was enough broadband to do the camera. Sorry, guys. Next time
we do need to fix the internet issue. We keep having to like broadcast in the living room, and I've got the office almost completely set up with some amazing technology, which you guys will get to enjoy soon.
All right, guys. I love you guys. Thank you for showing up tonight. For those of you who couldn't make it tonight, thank you for being here. Afterwards, thank you all. Thank you, sweetheart, for doing this tonight. I know it's been a little tougher when the baby's been around, but
everybody knock on wood again. We brought it up.
Can you also copy paste the finished questions into an email and stuff too, in case Aridif has to take over that way?
What do you mean the finished? Oh, the ones that were already.
The ones that made the cut, yeah. All of that. Or whatever way you're working with them, I don't know, but
I think I can do that.
Or Aridif will have to go over there, or when you leave, you can always tilt the computer this way too. It's fine.
Oh, I see what you mean. You know what? I could open up a document and then just erase as I go. I'll do that.
Okay. And all right. All right, guys, we're gonna get this going here.
I have to do executive functioning hacks for myself.
Yeah, and I did get your email, Malik. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, Alfonso is still live. We are here. We are here. If you want to join us on YouTube, that's where everybody else's comments are coming from. But if you like to be on Facebook, by all means, stay there. Love you guys. I'm going to shut up and we're going to channel now.
Heck yeah.
Take one more drink of water and then we're starting. Love you guys. Thank you. And to remind all of you, if you didn't know, Aridif and Treb look at that energy of your question. They look at the energy around you, inside you. When you ask the question, the energy about those topics light up inside of you, and that is sent to your higher self and out to all the guides, entities, beings, and situations that it's connected to. They get one gigantic look at that energy as a picture, and they reflect back on you. And the reason I tell everyone this, whether they've been through one live channeling or a million, is so that you guys can have fun tonight, enjoy. When you have that excitement and fun, and you have that towards the front of your energy, the answers they reflect back to you have that excitement. So whether you're listening back 6 months from now, forgot you sent in a question, or if you're here live with us tonight, have fun. Love you guys, and we'll see you on the other side.
Before you go, I want to show you. It'll be this document, and it'll say this one Aridif on it.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy paste all the questions on this,
Sure.
Which is editing on the go.
Okay, and you can erase the ones that have already been asked. Perfect. All right. Love you guys. See you on the other side. Thank you, Mama.
Of course.
Here we
Love
go.
you guys.
Greetings to all, this is Aridif, that is A-R-I-D-I-F, and this is its spell. We understand that all of you have queries for this day, but before diving into those queries, there are the two things that we wish to express. The first, above and beyond all things that are expressed in this day, to know, feel, and to perceive that you are loved, and our perspective is of the utmost importance. And secondly, it is our greatest excitement, and within that same great excitement in which we co-create with you, not only as individual entities, consciousness, but all of you, as a collective consciousness and as a co-created collective form of consciousness. We also wish to greet you as well, Kalina.
Greetings, Aridif. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Yes, of course.
It's been a while since we've done these, so this is amazing to go back to it.
Yes, of course. It is truly our greatest excitement to be here with you and to be here with all of you in this moment as well. You may begin your queries at your leisure.
Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these. And just so you guys know, these are not live questions. These are questions that were sent beforehand. I highly doubt there'll be enough time after, but in the case there is, you'll want to hold off till then. I don't want you guys to waste your time asking questions. We already have the questions for tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and post this. So this is coming from Raleigh to you, Aridif. If possible, what techniques can humans use to naturally stimulate their stem cells into producing younger physiques and appearances?
Yes, of course. First of all, understanding the nature of the stem cell. Of course, humans understand the innate portions of what stem cells are, being a regenerative and healing format of cellular energy that is born with you. And of course, the regeneration of that energy is not possible from the human perspective. Yet the healing construct that occurs within humans and that occurs within keeping your body as young and as healthy as possible is done upon two layers. Neither of them directly are affected by the stem cell unless egregious energy is created from injury physically or energetic feelings and resistance of emotions that create forms of disease. So, first starting the energy that all of you can live with that creates the greatest form of not only healing, but preventative disease measure, and the energy that keeps all of you out of the most healthiest and happy is the simple formula that we have shared with all humans in the time experience of co-creating with humans upon earth. That is being your truest version of yourself, the most natural version of you that is felt with happiness. Now we understand these constructs alone are extremely difficult and very deep within the nature of the topic, in which you understand the nature between true forms of happiness, forced happiness, medicated happiness, environmental acceptance and happiness, etc. But if you are being the version of you that creates the greatest forms of excitement, the version of you that does not feel resistant when acting and interacting with other humans, then of course that is the most natural version of you. To live in your moment, in your now moment, not to project your concerns and worries about what will be next in your future, not to connect the past versions of yourself to the version that you are now, and to create an experience, keeping the thoughts positive that are within the mental structure of yourself. This does not mean negative feelings and emotions cannot occur. It means do not resist against yourself through the negative emotions, meaning that as you are feeling the emotions, let them pass through and understand the purpose for why they exist within yourself at that moment. If you create one of two constructs that entertain and combine and accompany that energy of feeling, an emotion that is sorrowful, negative, sad, or angry, then it only creates more forms of resistance. The first is by denying your feeling itself, by trying to hide from that emotion, or trying to create experience of feeling negative about the emotion itself. Most of you can understand this construct as you have been upset, angry, or sad. You create another commentary internally that expresses, I am not meant to be negative, I am not meant to be sad, therefore I am creating the wrong emotion. That energy itself creates more of that same resistant emotion that you started with. Do not judge yourself through the emotional energy. Secondly, without resisting or without creating confirmations to why you are such a bad person with a negative emotion, then simple energy of looking at that emotion, hiding from that emotion, or rediverting it through any other scenario of unhealthy behavior. These two forms of experiences will, of course, only give a greater resistance and not deviate or bypass the initial form of resistance. Knowing this, knowing your belief systems is important. All of those can be worked with a 10-step process. All of these can be identified. The rerouting of negative thought processes for you who feel as if your mind is obsessively negative. Then, of course, rerouting the psychology with the same 10 steps will give you that greater result. With that construct, you can feel better emotionally. Now, the second portion, physically, is the regeneration of each cell. What occurs as you are getting older, as your cells multiply and duplicate themselves, they are degenerate in their process and start to break down. This is why you notice humans, after reaching their peak of physicality between the ages of 25 and 34, then as humans understand, the body starts dying. What that means is you no longer are creating copies of those cells that are of a regenerative nature and that create the maximized version of your health and your stamina. Instead, the regenerative process creates duplication, and all of you know this as a copy of a copy is always less and inferior to that of the original format. The reason why it is degenerative is twofold. The first is that in human space, the Earth environment of co-creative collective, you are in a system that requires finite version of life. Most of this is on the soul evolution and the programming of the human archetype to start with. Secondly, environmentally, toxins that occur inside of your body and the lack of needed metals are an important aspect. Needed metals that are in the body are trace minerals and metals that are not found in large amounts and not found deeply. Gold, silver, and copper are three most important metals to help you keep the regenerative status of your cells to create the greatest copy that is available. You will never copy a perfect copy of your cells, otherwise you would be infinite beings that live forever. Once you go into the higher dimensional forms, your cells can start creating exact copies of one another through a process that is entirely different than your own process at this moment. But you will still shift your body as your energy and your consciousness shifts. And at that time, you will choose when to leave your body and not leave as a choice and a degradation of the conscious body that is within that environment as well. We thank you for this.
Thank you.
Yes, calls.
So, Aridif, I'm going to do something I don't normally do because we follow the form to make it easier so we're not chasing questions around. But we have a dear friend, Selesh, who's been following us for years, who recently lost his sister, Minnie. I'm giving him my question. I was going to ask you a question. I'm not going to ask mine tonight. I'm going to give my question to him. And he's asking, what are the reasons for my sister, Minnie, transitioning across the veil and leaving the earth plane yesterday in the early morning?
First of all, as you're going through this experience, many of the entities that you've co-created with, that you have lost, feel deeply sorrowful for you. One of the energies that is created must be accounted for upon your own perspective and not simply within your sister's perspective. Let us express more deeply what we mean. Of course, there's a reason why she transitioned out of her physical experience and into the next level of her own consciousness and co-creative energy. But we would ask your own consciousness why you are experiencing a lifetime where other entities that you are loving, that you are deeply connected with, leave your experience as well. And the reason why this occurs in your own experience and chose to be siblings with an entity that left so early in your experience is that you must experience in this life a great deal of the transitioning of entities around you. Now we understand this is something that is not held easily by the mind of humans, but it is something that your soul energy accepted as a part of your co-creation before coming to Earth, that there would be loss of many of those that you love in your own experience and that are close to you. And the reason for that is that your soul has experienced this, of course, through multiple lifetimes of experience, yet in a body that understands the nature of the soul. It has been much less frequent most of the time in lifetimes where you have found a way to expand your consciousness greatly. They have mostly been within convents, far away from dedicated humans that were your family, that were close to you, that were energetically co-creating from the form of the closest and most intimate relationships. Yet in this life, you must be there to face that experience. Now, of course, you have had many incarnations. Yes, we will. One moment.
I have it set for you.
Yes, of course.
I'll be back if I can, guys.
Thank you, Kalina. Now, as this lifetime occurs, you've had many incarnations where the energy was not heightened, understood, expanded consciousness, and you did not have a greater opportunity in order to find that while in a heightened state of consciousness. But this is the majority of your experiences. Ones that were filled with loss of loved ones, one that were filled with experiences of missing and leaving those that you love in that realm. Now, it is an important step for you to understand in this experience itself that as you hold this dearly departed entity from your own perspective, how to process the energy of still feeling her non-physical consciousness with you to the greatest degree that you can. And of course, it will not always be a perfect energy. It will not feel her feeling as the physical body is not with you to interact that way. But of course, the energy itself will be of great importance for the co-creation of your consciousness and the soul. Now, from her own perspective, the energy that she held herself, it was simply time for the next experience. And without that permission of her own soul and consciousness, we cannot give more than the outward external construct that is shared, but the energy within allows for the next step to occur. It is always one feeling, energy from most humans that feels quite negative, to have lost an entity and be the one that is left to survive that consciousness. We understand that when working with Rob in the most direct manner, as he lost his father, an entity that was the very closest layer within his own heart for the experience of that energy. We felt Rob's grief. We felt, although his mind understood that his father was not gone, the experiential quality, the nature of the relationship was forever changed. And from that perspective of his own mind, we held a great deal of knowing that intimate layer. The words that we can share with you is that she's fine, and this will be the greatest relief that we can share with you, but this will not give you entire relief of construct. Even if we were to dive deeply into a soul consciousness and share all of those aspects, it would still not give you that greater healing level. But we can share with you that as you go through your time experiencing as much of her own energy in your soul and into your consciousness, you will feel all of that energy. One moment we must adjust the technology and be able to go forward with this energy more deeply. One moment. And the next query that comes from the entity known as Tonya asks, for my own consciousness, what can she do to open more of her own gifts? Now, of course, we go back into the initial construct that we have shared previously. We go into that energy of understanding your true nature. You go to the energy of understanding the way that your experience is meant to be. Letting go of resistances, letting go of your linear time adjustments and your own hold to that time, past and future, and simply live in your now moment. Express your highest excitement, act upon them, manage your mental energy, quantifying the consciousness of belief systems that hold greater forms of resistance. And of course, these are your basic structures. But to go more deeply inside of your energy that is psychic in nature, it will be an important aspect for you to start working with the inner consciousness of that excitement, of that true being, and express it yourself in ways that you have not done so previously. Even though there have been meditations for you to go into a different state of your own mental and emotional being, during those meditations are highly important. It is not only meditations that can create an experience of expansion for you in that way, but it is one of your greater tools. It is to go deeply within the consciousness of yourself, adjusted in a way that is fully open to receiving. And then, after you have practiced this many times, go into that same form of consciousness with your emotions fully charged in excitement. Then go into your own emotions fully charged with expressing love outwardly, then receiving love inwardly, then expressing your consciousness out past your higher fractal consciousness into your oversoul, into your Earth collective, into your solar system collective, into your galactic collective, and into the universal collective, and do so internally, going into the mental body and accepting that into your mental body, going inwardly, into your emotional body, going inwardly, into your auric field, going inwardly, into your cellular levels, going inward to the inner universe that exists internally, and allowing and expressing and pushing outward and pulling inward, and variance in each meditation. And each time that you commit to those specific changes in every form of meditation, and do so 3 times each, you will find something new, something that is different, something that has changed either in your psychic awareness, in your psyche itself, or in the instrumental, collaborative, co-creative forms of your own consciousness, reminding yourself that some humans express that the greatest way is to go externally, to push your consciousness to the edge of the universe and be an observer of that energy. Yet others express to go internally and receive, do both, and do so many times, and do so with different components of your own consciousness. Take that which is the identifiable entity that you are, the personality that you know, and do so with simple emotional portions. Do so with all of the aspects of yourself that you can divide yourself with, and then do so with all of the parts of you unified in oneness. Each of these will teach you a great lesson, and each of these will give you an opportunity for that expansion that previously was not engaged upon in that way. One moment we'll hydrate and go to the next query. Yes, the next entity, that is Jamal, expressed that when you leave Earth and other dimensions, can you incarnate as an adult, or must you go through the stages of childhood, through the fetal, and into the womb, etc.? Now, this consciousness is quite different for all of you. After you leave the physical incarnation, there are expressions of opportunities. Many of you understand the experience of reincarnating, but there are many different experiences that can be had than simple reincarnation. Reincarnation is identified solely through the expression, the verbal nature that it is. To and to incarnate, to do so again as a different entity, a different identity, different consciousness, and a different body. But there are also many variations. They are simply to reincarnate. There are simple additions that you are able to go into that exact same incarnation that you had just left, but do so through the fetal stages and go through as a soul connected to the fetal construct energy and create a new version of that same incarnation. There are also partial incarnations where you are able to go into the stages of your own previous incarnation and start at a certain point. And you can go through in 2 different ways, one that is much more intimate and universally exchangeable and interactive, and that is to go into that incarnation and live that part of your life from henceforward. But there are yet other components where you are able to go into that incarnation, change 1 or 2 great things that occurred in your experience, and simply see through your linear time perspective what occurred in all of the major components of your incarnation, or watch the last year of your incarnation, or watch the entire lifetime from that observer perspective, or to go through that incarnation as a walk-in. Now, this can be different part of your own consciousness, or merging with other consciousnesses in order for them to observe the components of your incarnation, but done so with different energy. Or you may choose another physical body of an entity who desires to have an experience, to be a walk-in fractal of consciousness, and desires to leave their body at a certain phase. And when their consciousness steps outward, you step inward. And that is to walk in incarnation and do so appropriately and take over that life, knowing the past, Now, this occurs also in many different forms. Either you can merge slowly, bringing those memories and associations and shifting towards the new entity that you wish to be, or more so what you are in the fractal that you had just come from, or allow the thumbprint of consciousness of yours to develop in new routes of consciousness and be an entirely different entity unto itself, but done so through living partial life without your conscious presence. Or you may simply go into that experience instantly as an older version of yourself or a predetermined conscious archetype that you desire to incarnate. There's also the choice of not incarnating, of simply staying out of the physical incarnation cycle for as long as you desire, to reintegrate. Now remind all humans that after your life is over in the physical body, what is occurring is not your own reincarnation, shifting into different lifetimes, going into different co-creative forms, all going into the standard measurement of whatever precursor or post-cursor that humans believe. What you are actually doing after leaving your physical body is doing something that you cannot in your physical body, and that is the reintegration to your entire consciousness. Noting that the entire consciousness of yourself is the entity that you are. The entire Rob for Rob, the entire Kalina for Kalina, the entire Jamal that is Jamal. But you are only presently aware of a small percentage, most humans from a lower attribute of 8 to 10% and the higher 17 to 22 and peaking at 25%. This means that the most enlightened beings amongst you rarely skip to the beat of 25% of their entire soul actualized, connected to and realized. When you meditate, you go into the higher fractal portions of yourself, not integrating more into your body, but going outward and expressing yourself closer to those portions. When you integrate into your body, you become wiser. The capping region and the limitation for most humans is 25%. Now, knowing that at the most that you can be 25%, and this is a rare 25%, this means 75% of your consciousness as an entire entity is not explored yet. Where we ourselves have similar amounts of consciousness that is within the fractal soul that we are connecting with at that conscious level inside of Ron's body, speaking to you through a channeled state, yet we are in our own body, we are expressing 90% to 99% of our consciousness at the end of the 6 density levels. We are already nearly completed the integration into our body, and once 100% comes, our incarnation cycle is over. That is what humans are striving for, to go to a place that was capped nearly at 20% and go now starting a new cap at 25 and going through the 4th density till approximately 30% or 35% and going further into the 5th density where it is 60% and going into the 6th density and the last place of physical reality entering the possibility of near 100. And when you experience life with the fractalization and that in your physical body, it is much different than after the life and reintegrating to the 100%. Most humans in between their reincarnative states are only entering 30% of their consciousness maximum. At that level of their own understanding, it is too lucrative in their own mind to be inside of a physical body learning the physical lessons, to continue to stick around outside of the body, even though you feel now your life would be extremely much more comfortable outside of your body, having the capacity of all of the higher dimensional beings. When you are in that energy, it is much more exciting to be inside of the physical body. You already understand the purpose of life at that time. You understand the lessons that you are meant to have learned, not only in the life you have just left, but through thousands of your incarnations. And the higher you integrate, the more awareness that is held. At some point, the reintegration process becomes stale because you're already highly heightened in your awareness and know that the limitations of physicality itself is where those great lessons for the soul can be learned and the new experience is integrated. So, of course, you can choose any of these paths that you desire. We will hydrate ourselves and continue to the next query. Yes, the next is from the entity named Fiona. One moment, as it will take 1 moment to receive the information in the way that it is written. Yes, this entity has expressed that they were once told that humans who commit suicide are stuck between incarnations, stuck into that life and lifespan. And of course, we would share that in that incarnation, after leaving the physical body, especially in that of heightened trauma, then of course there can be trauma afterwards. Now, as we've expressed in our previous query, life exiting the physical body is a reintegration process. But when a human starts at the lower end of 10%, and has to grow gradually through that energy, and they are in a place of great and heightened trauma, then of course they will still have to go through the same process that all of you have gone through in your own spiritual exploration. A place of knowing, a stage of understanding yourself, a stage of understanding the eternal nature of consciousness, and the stage of understanding that afterlives exist. All of these can be problematic for those who are pre-programmed within the construct of overly organized religious ideologies inside of their own minds. We do not mean organized religion as it were a unit or a condition of consciousness, but the condition that it causes an organized perspective of what religion is. Now, if you are a Christian and you have committed that which is the suicide energy, then of course, first of all, your emotions are bound to sadness, fears, etc. And you are conditioned to believe that you will be tortured permanently and eternally. And there can be slight experiences that would show emotional forms of detachment, emotional forms of separation, energies that feel torturous to that being for small time. But these would not be the same forms of torture that humans believe. It would be more so a lack of being able to connect to that in which you experience as exciting, happy, or feeling of oneness that can occur with most entities that are on the further side of the percentages. That alone causes enough trauma within that entity, but understanding that they are not the body creates that experience that soon and small proportion of time linearly in your earth perspective, but for the entity feeling longer, will experience either simply an understanding that comes to them that says that I am the one that is creating this cycle or loop of depression, separation, feeling isolated in an afterlife, or will have an entity that works with him as guides come to them and share that same insight. Now we understand many of these energies are extremely conditional to the humans that go through. But if you are speaking to an entity who already is at a higher percentage, but is simply going through an extremely painful or difficult disease, and not one that was created by their resistant nature in the emotional state, that was simply gone by through contractual form and lesson that was required for that soul, then they themselves will not go through as much of that trauma after. If they are simply ending their life to end the suffering that is physical pain and not emotional pain, then of course it is much different for them. Less of that resistance is experienced directly after. Now we understand suicide in general is perceived as negative in that way, and what we can share, greater amounts of work will have to be done after the physical incarnation is over for most humans, because they believe this, because they are conditioned to that, and because it is still an integrated process. Rejoining and reintegrating the parts of the higher fractal consciousness that are necessary. And of course, that is an extremely important part of the afterlife experience, whether you live in trauma, suicide, or going through traumas, and also dying in other forms. But regardless, it is not a permanent place of resistance, no matter how deeply embedded the consciousness is in the human, that expresses that afterlife will be an eternal damnation and torture. They will not experience it eternally. They will not experience it nearly a degree in which feels eternal. It will only be until they feel no longer obligated to go through that experience as well. And this is the exact same blueprint as your physical experience shows you. An archetype of energy that is all consciousnesses throughout the entirety of the universe as they express into the human perspective. That yes, there is creative power behind the soul, and it will create in its physical or non-physical experience what it needs to experience, what it believes it will experience, and what it must experience for the sole purpose expression. We thank you for this. One moment, we'll rehydrate and continue. Yes, the next query comes from an entity that is known as Karina. And the query is, I am a school counselor in this life. Am I also counselor or teacher to other realms of consciousness, other places that exist in the universe, etc.? And this entity has expressed that in past incarnations or in future incarnations, they are similarly curious as well. In the expression as below, so too above, etc. Now this entity, as they have expressed these terms, yes, of course, the student counselor or student guidance or personal guidance entity that you are, and that you have identified yourself as one fractal of you, and that fractal is mimicked through not simply your higher dimensionality in different versions of your own consciousness in 4th, 5th, and 6th density, as humans hold the multidimensionality that is an expressed consciousness onto itself, that also is perpetuated by your own actions as a human being, not only in places of alternate versions of your soul that is doing different things upon different planets, not only in your oversoul with thousands of probable fractals that you experience, but different components of your own consciousness do so as well. The fundamental nature of your subconscious and unconscious is to process that which cannot be known to you, or that is hidden from yourself. And in those terms, you have many of that energies working consistently and internally for yourself, to guide yourself through the guidance of others. You have guides that work with you internally that are known as spirit guides. These entities hold no identity, but are embedded inside of the chakra system, working internally with you and for you. And these entities are also working as counselors and guidance centers for yourself, You have those that are generic guides that work on an external factor and within co-creation and energy of yourself, and they are helping you guide. And of course, in your dream states, as you project into the astral realms, you are also working with other humans who have passed into the near future and are working with them, helping them as an example of one of the entities that are guides for others that come to them in the troubled times of either suicide, quick deaths, or deaths in which they were extremely and most difficultly emotionally resistant in those moments, and you help them. And you are helping entities that are hybridized programs working to understand humans more directly and teaching them more about human nature, helping guide them to their own version of humanity. You are doing so in multiple threads, but there are also multiple other components of yourself. There are the feminine and masculine forms of energy that work internally in every human. Both of those are playing out their natural conclusions with other consciousnesses. There is the nurturer within you, as well as the active and moving parts of consciousness within you that are working through that expression. So yes, of course, the one small percentage of your own consciousness that holds to counseling others is simply present in your experience for two reasons. The first, as it was something that you desired to experience before entering the Earth incarnation, and set yourself to open that opportunity to help others. Simple terms, most generically to help others. And of course you are achieving this. And also because you desired in this incarnation to follow much of your instincts that were held, and in moments where you could not, were always guided back to something that was similar enough. This is what helped you stay within that lineage, the contractual form of light or pre-contractual energy, and brought you to that arena as well. And of course we thank you for this. One moment. Yes, and the next query from Holio expressed that the previous lifetimes, roles and professions, and of course we can share this with you. Think to all of those times in your experience where you felt as if being a certain profession were to be experienced as a positive and great experience. Most humans who are children desire to go into space as the astronauts do, to become a fire person, a nurse, a teacher, a warrior. All of those energies that you have had in your incarnation, you have had previous incarnations experiencing those. And the reason why humans hold that energy deeply as a child is because you are not conditioned to be removed from that source form energy that you are at the moments of birth. And through those excitements, you can see many of those that you were. Now, this includes your past incarnations, but non-linearly, your future and alternate versions of yourself as well. We will share three of these that are most present in your energy in this moment, as you can explore the rest upon your own. First, the consciousness that holds the same form of energy that Rob himself is doing in this incarnation, channeling outwardly as a consciousness, but this was not what you would call this at this time in your experience upon Earth incarnation in a region that was known as Egypt in that time, and Egypt in what you know now, even though it is more so northern portions, countries that surround your Egypt at this moment, it is still appropriate to call it close to the Egyptian region. In that time you were known as an oracle, and many entities would come to your own self asking the queries, and you would bring consciousness from a higher fractal energy into your body and speak, and they would call this becoming an oracle, as they did not have the means or the identity of nature to perceive as an entity going into their own consciousness through transmutive states and bringing forward consciousnesses that were differently expressed as the ones within themselves as well. And of course, you had this opportunity in many other lifetimes, but this specific form in the Egypt region at approximately 3000 BCs, the lifetime that forms quickest to that energy. Secondly, in another consciousness outside of the Earth collective energy, you are experiencing the consciousness that was within your astral traveling master, and you did so as a greater future version of human that had left Earth incarnation, and one that had gone to the regions that you would perceive as your rabbit constellation or the Leporis constellation. And after you had gone into this region and joined your new planet of energy, you were an astral projector and worked to communicate with lesser evolved races doing similar work as our own consciousness is working through Rob with humans, and Treb Bor Yit-Ne working also with Rob into the co-creation of other humans. And you are doing this upon third density life forms that were in the mid-range of their evolution, and doing so upon multiple planets. The third is where you were a simple farmer that was forced to go to war, and this war required a great deal of sacrifice, as you left all things that you loved for the rest of your life and joined the army in order to protect the lands in which you once lived. And this became a transmutive process, being a family person, a farmer, an entity with several dozen children and grandchildren, and became a very old warrior. Now, of course, you were only in your mid-terms of 30s as you started this energy, having children extremely young and their children extremely young, but you left, told that you would be gone for several months to 1 year, and staying gone for 12 years, continuing to fight the oppressive Persian army as you saw it in that region, and continue to do so until eventually you were absorbed by that same Persian army and utilized as an instrument of their own brutality, as you perceived in your own mind, and went to conquer many lands in the name of a king that you hated. And that incarnation was extremely difficult. One day you understood deeply an intuitive feeling that you had never perceived previously, that you would never see home again, that you would never see those that you loved again, and knew this to be true. Even if you won every war that you were asked to, would still be utilized to the effect of the instrumentality and the projection of the ruler. And even though the ruler that was there was becoming old and ill, you understood their son to be a tyrant worse than they. And of course, this gave into your own mental state becoming deteriorative, and of course in the next battle you opened your shield and your spear and held your arms wide, closing your eyes, saying that you will meet your family again in the next incarnation. And of course you were killed in that moment, but it gave you great joy, and there were no processes of healing, simply because you understood through your belief that you would reunite with your family in that way. And of course, that was of a great excitement for you, and the last of the 3 incarnations that we share. One moment. We must utilize the technology in order to go to the next query. Yes, now we will connect to Treb Bor Yit-Ne as he has asked of this next query. So we will, of course, ask the query first, as Treb Bor Yit-Ne is not able to utilize Rob's physical structure in that way, and we will connect you with him after the query is asked. Now, the query itself comes from the entity known as Jessica, who is contact with me, shows me geometric shapes explained incredible detail and allowed to feel very strong sensations of love, joy, happiness, and excitement, Treb Bor Yit-Ne will come in one moment to Jessica's query and answer. One moment we'll hydrate and connect with Treb Bor Yit-Ne.
Yes, good evening, Jessica. Good evening, Karina, and good evening to all of you as well. Now, as you are going into that experience of connecting geometric shapes and patterns and love and excitement and joy, what you are experiencing is an energy that is within your higher self. Now, we understand the higher self comes in many components and many different energies, identities that hold a certain personification of that energy. But what we can share with you is it is your highest part of your higher self, a part of your higher self that perhaps, as you would see, roams around your sixth density layer of energy and consciousness. And with that energy, it is connecting to a higher source of energy as well. And this energy is one that you know as Metatron as well. And we know that you have familiarity with the Metatron energy at one level, and at other levels there is still a great deal of energy that you can learn and take from the inside. But knowing that Metatron is this energy that is being pulled from your higher self into your own awareness will give you a great opportunity to start seeing more parts of yourself and connecting with more energies internally. It will also be able to help you find a way to integrate that excitement, happiness, and joy more deeply. And because you are part of that energy, that is the Earth consciousness, and the Earth is part of the energy that is Metatron energy, of course it will be an easier transition than it would be if you were trying to reach to the entities that humans call archangels, that were upon a different planet of consciousness and tried to connect with that energy. Because Metatron's energy is so knowledgeable, so connected, and so integrated to Earth, it will not be very difficult for any of you who are excited by Metatron energy to connect with him as well. One moment, and we will bring back Aridif and be able to connect with his own energy that will assess and read and connect more deeply with the question as well. One moment, please. Greetings.
I go back to sleep finally.
Yes, if you desire to take back over with your queries, we will mark the one in which we are last integrated.
I'm sorry I did come back in. I decided to blow out the candle. Otherwise, I'd left it running. So. Were you reading questions?
Yes, this is the query that we were upon as the last of our queries.
Oh, this is the last one?
This is the last one that we were ready to read and integrate at that moment, yes. Treb Bor Yit-Ne had just answered a previous query, and we have erased them to this point.
Sure, I'm trying to figure out. This looks like it's might be continuing on with multiple. Yeah, give me just a second. Sorry.
Yes, of course.
Okay, yeah, I think this is a separate one. Hi again, everybody. Sorry I missed out on a lot of stuff. Let's see. Okay, so we have a question from Tracy. You didn't do Tracy's yet, but did you?
Yes, we do not believe that Tracy's query was the one that was answered.
Okay, so it says, Aridif, please, I've been at the spiritual game for quite some time, but haven't been able to shift out of my limitations and see changes. Any insight would be greatly appreciated, and thank you. Born a third generation, this is Clarence, but was given the nickname Oh, gotcha.
Yes, of course. First of all, as you are exploring the nature of resistance, there are parts of your own personality that truly hold levels of resistance towards the emotional energy. Now, of course, the mental form of energy being a part that is strong within you does not mean that you cannot tap in to your emotional energy. There's a great layer of self-judgment that is occurring. Part of the reason is because you feel you have not progressed in the fashion in which you wish to progress. Part of the energy is also the expression of allowing the emotions at the state that they are, not trying to create a forcible form of emotion or forcible form of mental energy, for matter of that term as well. So integrating a portion of your own consciousness to an acceptance of all things that are occurring within you, being at ease of those energies, working through that 10-step creation process, but also allowing yourself to be accepted of the level of emotion that you are able to muster at any given moment during times of either crisis or resistance is an acceptable portion. Mind yourself for the self-judgments and the judgments of others. This will clear a great deal of energy first in your third chakra, your heart chakra, and your throat chakra, which naturally allow greater resistance lifting the third eye chakra as well. This will allow the central form of your own conscious energy within your systems and energies internally to be at the greatest capacity that they are. There's also levels that hold expectations of what your experience should be and what your experience can be. And of course, you are hearing others' experiences and referring to earlier experiences that you've had, that you are marking the distance of measure in which these co-creations are meant to be expressed. But in that level, we would share with you to let go of those expectations, to understand and know that each moment will be drastically different. Even the psychic consciousness of a human is able to be extremely open at one moment and be more closed in yet another. And this is not abnormal, and it works in cycles and works within the intricacies of your secular forms of energy in the Earth collective consciousness to start with. Let yourself allow that energy. Let yourself experience that experience. The greatest indicator of knowing that you are properly in the moment is, are you accepting of your acceptance? Are you feeling at ease no matter what is occurring as a response to your experience? We'll give you a short example. Christians work with sins, and those sins are dictated as a level of spiritual awareness in which they hold. If they are in good grace with their own God at that moment, they feel as if going to hell is impossible because they have not sinned. Therefore, they are creating a sense of accomplishment that is internal. Yet, internally, they have just given away their own excitement for a sexual engagement with another human being. They have given away their excitement to speak of other religious philosophies or other ideals, or to worship themselves, or being prideful in that way. So now they have given a great deal of their desires and hopes in order to achieve that great energy. Now, of course, feeling frustration, anger, you feel as if those things, of course, too, can give you resistance to your psychic awareness. And upon the opposite and flip condition of that energy, that if you do not behave in a certain way emotionally, that you cannot benefit from the greatest forms of your psychic ability. And of course, this is not true as well if you're not being naturally in the alignment of your natural consciousness that is held, and do you know if it is natural or not for yourself, because when you are acting upon it without resistance towards time in a linear setting, when you are doing all of the core components of that energy, which we have shared in the very first query, and you are not feeling openly excited or happy within the sense of simply being in that now moment, and we do not mean overjoyous and laughing and giggling as a child may, we are simply meaning feeling complete in that moment, then of course you are not allowing in that way. So check all of these checkpoints of yourself, allow, release the forms of others' experiences and your previous experiences in which to hold measurement to your now moment, and of course be in that moment. And you'll find many of these energies starting to divert back towards being the open person that we understand and see you as, of course. We thank you for this.
Thank you, Aridif.
Yes, of course. There is time for approximately 1 to 3 queries, pending upon the query and the time remaining to answer as well.
Sure. Hopefully there will be 3. We've got tons of questions. I wish we could do a part 2. So we have a question that's actually no name, so I guess they wanted to keep it anonymous. I don't know if all of you know what this is referencing, but this is one of the rabbit holes Rob and I have been going down. So I'm going to ask this one: who and when cut all the gigantic, tall, massive trees on Earth that today appear to be fortified stones and rocks?
Yes, of course. Now, in your own context of energy that you perceive your world history through, you bring more validity to that form of history. Now, of course, the shared collective history in this moment is that these are simple mountains created by tectonic plates and large rocks that were at one time a form of mountain that has been degraded, washed away, weathered by time itself. And of course, we understand the nature behind the beliefs of all of these formats of energy, and yet we hold a perspective more so towards that shared form. Now, we do not mean that there are not great mistellings of history that did and would occur, and we are not saying that there were not giant entities that lived upon Earth at one time. What we are saying is that the entities were not hundreds to thousands of feet tall. They were within the 12 to 24 foot tall range, and these entities were of multiple natures pending. Some of these were humanoid, some of these entities were aquatic in nature, some of these were hybridized as the Anunnaki's first co-creative energies, and others were entities that came from other planetary consciousnesses and lived at Earth between incarnations cycles at some times. Now we understand part of the petrified energies that were within older trees that were large are misunderstood to be pillars in deserts, etc. And this holds a great deal of validity in the shared co-creative cycle. But feeling and knowing and understanding the nature of trees, the nature of those stones, and the nature of all of these giant entities that we perceived, this is for a great reason as well. Not simply to have that be your new experience only, but for all of the insights that can be gained through your exploration of these topics as well. Knowing and feeling and perceiving these energies as a conscious co-creative form is an important energy for you to pursue, so that you are able to start seeing other various parts of your own consciousness and the external world through a different lens of reality than others, so that you are able to insight the depths of your own consciousness in clear, more fantastical ways as well. We thank you for this.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Rob and I have been definitely going down the alternate history rabbit hole from like literally everything from anybody who's looking into the whole Tartarian thing or mud floods or just everything, because it just seems like there's so many different realities. And we're going to be picking your and Treb's brains some more, because I think there's just combinations too of different realities. Sorry, I'm looking for the next question I'd lined up and accidentally scanned past it. But,
yes, of course.
My apologies. Give me a second. Here we go. I am going to copy this. It's a little more of a scientific-y question. Had to, we got to get our nerd on tonight. Okay. All right, so this is from Paul, and Paul says, Aridif, unless Treb insists, as Earth enters the Alcyon photon band now, that the word now in quotations, with its increased radiation, etc., my understanding is that humans will, of course, die of radiation unless they have somehow been able to upgrade their DNA from, I'm not sure, this is carbonaceous, I'm sorry, to more crystalline, to allow for our chakras to integrate in specific ways. Yet I've heard no good help on how humans do this. So could you explain all this without too much complicated physics? Thank you.
Yes, of course. First of all, the construct of the Alcyon photon belt being that of the energy in which you are going through is not correct as the form of central galactic energy, and that is one that you have already passed through. The upgrading to humans is not one that is sent in physics alone. It is one that is consciousness driven, and a portion of the energy that is said to implement the energy of creative forms in your soul's desire, in your earth desire, and from your own personal perspective energy. For example, most humans in this time should have been moving from your second to third density consciousness. But because you had gone through that energetic cycle of the central galactic collective forms of energy cycling throughout the entirety of the galaxy and helping bring an essential form of energy, as you would see it, or as we would call an accelerated consciousness integrative form, it brings about a greater lift and shift of availability to consciousness for those that desire, and for the dimensional shifting factors to be perceived by those native of that region. So, of course, when you are normally meant to be going from second to third and being sped forward by the Anunnaki DNA form manipulation, instead of going from second to third density, you have gone from third to fourth, and have done so in the time period that was known as your 2003 to 2021 region, one that we have spoken of in many times through many forms of expressions, and that was your transitional time and period. Now, of course, going from the carbon-formed life base onto that of a crystalline-formed life base is, of course, the upgrade of human consciousness that will shift you into the higher dimensional form of fourth density energy eventually. But at this moment, you are still going through your very carbonist phases, even though transitioning slowly and being able to perceive that in which you are transitioning slowly through your basic forms and layers of science initially. But this energy is one that goes through the activation form of DNA through all humans. It will not leave some behind. It will not only affect that of the higher consciousness entities, but those who have the highest forms of their own internal understanding and have expressed and integrated higher percentages of their higher fractal consciousness into their physical body will start being those that notice fourth density more quickly. but you are already in fourth density, and because you have been jumped so greatly, the collective perspective still is stuck within third density mind perspectives. And as a shared creation, as a fourth density being, creating a lesser version of themselves evolution-wise, then of course you will still fit the bill for the third density consciousness. All you must do is be yourself and expand yourself, and you will continue to see over the counter peeking into that fourth density realm. All of you have been doing so for several years, even before your 2003 regions, the starting of the acceleration, many humans were peeking into their fourth density forms of energy, and you are doing so because you are also multidimensional. Not all beings that exist in the universe are multidimensional. Now we will express all beings in the universe are multidimensional in the factor that their higher fractal consciousness connects to their physical body, and integration or exploration of that higher fractal consciousness will dictate and will receive through manifest the form of exploration of higher densities. Of course, this is with all entities, but when we express the term multidimensionality, what we mean is that your DNA holds attributes of fourth, fifth, and sixth density consciousness as per the entities that created human DNA and added to the first manipulation of DNA from fourth density entities themselves, who were a mixture of fifth and sixth density beings, creating the expression and experience of having greater opportunity to explore and being able to do so in variant layers. Now, an entity that has no multifaceted forms of multidimensional DNA will explore only where their consciousness can take them, only to where their expansive nature can enter the higher fractal consciousness. But with humans, holding that which is graded in 3 levels above their own consciousness, can enter either realm. Incidentally, when you are going into your sleep state each night, there are 3 layers of that sleep state, whereas in Treb Bor Yit-Ne's race, there's only 1 layer, dream state, and that vibrational difference between the lower and higher layers can be, of course, different in different components of the same dimensional format above. But within that construct of energy that replicates that very low density, exploring higher can only be done so by those with that multifaceted, multidimensional form of DNA. So of course, you are entities who are advanced enough to create lesser advanced versions of yourself. This does not mean that you are not advanced. This does not mean that you are only a third density, therefore lower than what you should be. This simply means all of you are agreeing to play the game of limitation and are doing so well enough that you have created it strongly enough for it to be an experience that all of you will experience, of course. We thank you for this. We will take one short query before disconnecting as well.
Can I have you in 2? I think you'll be able to answer them in the space of 1, if it's okay.
If they are shortened queries, of course, yes.
Okay. 1 is very specific. 1 is actually pretty universal, I feel. Although this person may not feel this way, but this is actually more common, I think, than people imagine. So I feel like this will help a lot of people tremendously. So it says, hello, this is DLS, which is a Google YouTube alias, and with a question for you, Aridif. I'm over 50 years old, and I've never been able to find the right man for me. Never married, no children, gave up over 14 years ago. Can you enlighten me about the cause or the reason? I have always been alone.
Yes, first of all, the energy for some humans is to not be with a partner in that specific incarnation for a myriad of possible reasons. existence, and the probabilities are so extensive in that category alone that it could be quite literally infinite from the way that humans perceive the word infinite. But in your case, this is not the case. First of all, part of the contractual forms of energy in your own experience was to experience your own life and finding mates at a later end of your experience. But the successful nature of partnership comes only from the mastery of being able to be at an alone state. Now, we understand this does not mean you can't be alone with yourself. It does not mean you're not good at being alone with yourself. In some ways, to be with yourself in that central form can be excruciating. And it is those moments where you feel that being alone is excruciating, create some forms of that resistance. Secondly, seeing yourself worthy of being loved by another entity is an important factor, as yourself and many humans have not mastered the self-love version and portion of their own energy. This does not mean it is the only reason, as many humans share this but still force bad relationships. They are creating experiences where they are unhappy with others because they have not learned to love themselves enough to either place the barrier of energy and the format boundary that says I cannot be treated in this way, etc., or by not seeing themselves worthy of that love and perceiving. So the energy for yourself is to go into your excitements, to go into places where others share your excitement. You are one of the archetypes of human consciousness that cannot be with someone long term unless they are charged in the same excitement factors as yourself. The integration of your spiritual self is one of your greatest excitements. Go to places where others feel the same. Go to places where others co-create that first level of excitement to be that energy. And secondary, third and fourth excitements are important as well, but not nearly as important as the greater excitements. Find this place and you'll find yourself. When in that relationship, be mindful also of yourself and the way that you are perceiving yourself. The concerns of your past are tied deeply to yourself. Do not allow yourself to tie the energies of your past experiences and, as you see them, failures of other relationships, to dictate that which you are now. They have not been failures. They have been great teachers, and starting to perceive the past experiences of having those relationships are important. We thank you for this. We will take one last query before disconnecting, of course.
Yeah, and I wanted to say very quickly that even though it's no substitute, I'm kind of picking up from this particular person that they do have lovers in the astral state. I'm feeling like some very close. It's just you're not recalling it. So, all right, so let me post this last question. This is a super exciting one for me, you guys. We'll see why in a second. Okay. So this comes from Kim, and this is a question for Treb, actually.
Yes, we will express to all of you that it is our greatest excitement to have been here with all of you in this day, and to know that as you have asked your queries and we have explored those answers of said queries, we are reflecting from parts of your own consciousness, parts that we have never perceived previously. And this allowed you to grow through your own reflection of our reflection of your energy. And because you are growing and because we are at one with our universe at large, and your human consciousness is a part of our own consciousness, we are also growing with you. We express our own excitement for your growth and congratulations, and we express our own excitement for our growth as well. We thank you for this.
Thank you, Aridif.
Yes, of course.
I love you. We love you.
Yes.
You are loved.
Not only are you loved, but we love you as well, and we bid you all adieu for this day.
Bid you adieu.
Adieu.
Hi, Trebby Trebs.
Yeah.
We've got the last question for the night. All right, so Kim has a question for you. And she says, I've had contact with a Draco being, so a draconian being, who is on a future timeline that is my brother. Could you tell me the name of the group that he is with that broke away from the Empire?
Yes. When you are looking at this energy, this consciousness, it is a part of the draconian race that has already been explored by many humans. A part of that energy, which is related to the Kalask form of draconian beings. Now we understand draconians are multitudes of the similar genetical race that is broken into several parts. Just as humans would have different breeds of the same race, it is very similar with the draconian energy and within their own empire energy. And with this energy of Kalask being that which has broken apart, which has desired to go back, and which in your linear future, as you perceive, has broken apart again and reconsidered and broken apart again as part of their own exploration cycle. This energy is an entity that is from Kalask as well.
So it's kicking it with Kalask.
Yes, very much so as well. We know that our time for this day has come to its end, but before we disconnected, we also wish to express that we are very happy that we have co-created with all of you in this day, and we are also very excited to be here with you during your times of excitement as well. And we leave all of you this day in love and in light, and we will experience each other again very soon as well.
Thank you, Treb.
Yes, you are very welcome as well. And good night, Kalina, and good night to all of you as well.
Good night, dear Treb. You're just one big lizard ray of sunshine.
Yes. Good night.
Good night.
Hi.
Hi, welcome back.
Thank you. How'd it go?
It went great. Aridif actually read questions out loud, apparently. I came back, I'm like, what is going on? Lily cried, and I had to go take care of her for, I think Aridif probably read almost every question, didn't you guys? So
Hey,
that
guys.
was cool.
Hello.
All
right.
We still had a ton of questions.
Yeah,
we got a lot of
we had
questions
over 50
in.
or 60, I think, this time around. I'm looking through the chat, and I've seen some people asking their questions in chat. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, the way we set it up is that we have a form, so you guys really have to watch the YouTube channel, because we announce.
We talked about trying out a
but
new thing
right as it stands right now, we have a form that you guys would fill out, and we had this one up for 3 or 4 weeks. So if you guys haven't subscribed to the YouTube, even if you're just doing it for that alone, it would be worth subscribing to the YouTube and then clicking all notifications, because we always put up at least 1 or 2 posts through the community tab, which is like a written paragraph with a picture that comes through, or we upload a video a month before saying, hey, we're going to do the open forum. This is the forum link, and these are the questions that we'll take, and these are the ones we don't. So if you're new to us, that's probably the best way to make sure you get your question in next time. And we will have more of these for sure, guys.
I forgot to mention, because Treb was saying his goodbyes to Kim. You probably know this, that David Lauer channels Kalask. Is he still channeling?
No, I don't think he channels them anymore, no. I don't think so.
Because I
From
know
what I heard,
that
he shut down his website and his YouTube and everything. So.
I know Anthony mentioned him, so maybe he knows
No, I think Anthony's been connecting with him more, but I don't know. I'm really
he sounds really accessible to you, though.
Yeah. Unfortunately, David doesn't channel.
I don't think channels anything anymore. He first stopped channeling class for a while and just channeled.
He could be taking a break too.
The feline beings, and then he just stopped channeling everything altogether. I think. Yeah, he's actually one of the people who did really well with the channeling class and helped him. He was already connecting with these beings for a long time, but it helped break through that part. So yeah, I know he's got his own reasons. I would say it's sad to see him
Alexis
go, but I know.
confirmed that David doesn't channel anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say it's sad to see him go, but it's not. I mean, he's got his own reasons and needs it for his own journey. I haven't talked to him for a while, though. It's been a couple of years, so I'll try to catch up with him sometime.
It's not uncommon for some people to, and I can't speak for why David doesn't, but I know that there are a lot of people who just connect with their higher selves and like the overall energy consciousness, or that God consciousness, if you will.
Right.
Because as you guys know, just like, you know, humans, there's a huge gamut of people's energies and what they believe in. You know, there's quote unquote good, quote unquote bad. Is the same thing with, you know, extra-terrestrials, extra-dimensionals. Like, for instance, when you hear stories of the different gray beings, for example, some people have very positive experiences, some neutral, some negative, some like pretty much all of them. Some people love hanging out with them in the hybrids. Some people are experiencing trauma. Some people experience both. There's war out in space. There's love out in space. So I think sometimes for some people that gets really intense when you're picking up on all these different energies. And as a human, you're hoping for a little more peace, right? I think for a lot of us, because it's a little crazy here on Earth. And again, I'm not speaking for David at all. I'm just saying I've noticed that a lot of people, when they do kind of move away, or it's not that they really move away, they get more private and they seem to get more in tune with their higher knowing.
Right.
And their personal connection to source or God or universe, whatever you may call it.
Right.
So I just thought, you know, I'd throw that out there.
Well,
that's pretty normal, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
A normal occurrence. And then some of us like to kind of do it all. Like Rob and I, you know, we'll talk to entities, you know, whether they're type 1 or type 2, as long as they're not trying to manipulate or hurt us. We, you know, I mean, we have, you know, disincarnated spirits coming in here all the time, and, you know, all kinds of energies come in, and we don't mind as long as they're not interfering. I got a bit sassy with some ones that were just flying all around Lily, and I was not having that. No. We shut down.
I want to say too, thank you for Jessica for the donation. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
And something I was going to say, and I'm not speaking about David, but I'm speaking of the phenomenon of channelers who appear and then disappear. Mm-hmm. A lot of channelers who decide to channel professionally, it's not always a financially lucrative thing to do for people. There's very few people in the world who channel professionally who make a lot of money doing it. You know, you can look at prices of channelers and say, wow, that person makes a lot. But usually if they're either doing what we do and only doing one session a day, a couple days a week, or they have teams of like 10 or 15 people they pay. So even the channelers you would think are doing like super successful, well, millionaires are just making above what most people in the middle class make.
You did it for free for years.
Oh yeah. Well, that's part of it. I mean, I've gone through that thing. It's my whole that whole thing of seeing people with comments about that was that's been something I definitely get touchy about, because I did a lot of channeling for free for many years, and I still do. I mean, this is free, right? So it's but people have to make a living too, and I would rather do channeling
as my career and be able to.
Technically, it's $9.99 right now.
Yeah, well, that's true too. Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate it. But I mean, nobody has to pay to get a question. And even in the ones like Patreon and stuff, it's just, to me, I would rather do this and charge for it and be able to support my family and be able to do it full time so that I can share as much of it as I can with the collective than not do it and work at a factory and only be able to channel once a month.
Thank you for sharing that, Alexis. I want to flash that on the big screen, but I don't have David's permission. But we had wondered what was. It's just nice to know he's doing okay, because it does take a lot of energy to channel. Yeah. It really does, because it's like trying to put a UFO through a rocket, and even though the rocket's pretty powerful, but we're all getting those nice 5D upgrades. It's just some of us are doing it in our already physical bodies, kind of recreating the 3D experience a bit more than we'd like. Things are a little shaky right now, but hopefully it is going to be, a little easier transitional phase for the younger ones.
Yeah.
Coming in. So.
And I see you, Zephyr. I appreciate what you said. That means a lot to me, and I hope that your time that we've got to know each other has been useful too for things, because I love you, brother, and I always want what's greatest for you too. So I love you, brother, and I want to say hi to Haru, and I'm sure there's a bunch of you who came in after I started channeling that I did not see, and if I missed you, I'm sorry. I think Alexis might have come in after I started channeling, maybe. But either way, guys, I hate to do this.
Oh, wait, before you hate to do it, I'm going to have to do the annoying marketing thing.
Sure.
Don't forget to smash the like button. As everybody always says smash, I don't know why. Don't forget to click on the like button, and feel free to leave comments and stuff. It helps with the algorithms. It helps you guys find each other. All that wonderful jazz you guys already know about. Oh, yeah, and that subscribe. And hit the bell.
Well, I think everyone who wants to be a part of the open forum should probably subscribe, just so you can get notified when it comes.
I actually like to watch live stuff from other people, and I feel bad because sometimes I actually forget to smash the like button, as they say. Sorry, I find that word funny to say.
Before I go to, I'll answer this quick question. Haru, you just popped in, so I'll answer this for you real quick. It comes in both. Every archetype comes in both. Like even reptilians, they've got good ones, bad ones. The canine beings that work with humans that I'm aware of, there's 2 races or more. And the 2 races that have been part of our old, some of it's mistaken as a like the Egyptian ones that you see, a lot of those were just from the hybrids that the Anunnakis put up, because they were smushing every earth animal together to try to make the best worker be. So that was a lot of what you saw in Egypt. But the canines that show up in people's dream states and some of the depictions that they've seen, both of those were type 2 races, but mostly benevolent, like mostly, good. Even though they could, because they're like 70 to 80% benevolent, they still could have their moments where if you did something to them that they didn't feel was the best for humans or the best for themselves, then of course they would come at you with a bit of an attitude or put you straight, you know what I mean? So for the most part, yes, they had better intentions, but with as all type 2 races, there could be some good, could be some bad, and everything between. So anyway, guys, I have got to get off of here. It's 1:15 at night or in the morning here. Lily tends to wake up early. Plus, we've also got our live stream tomorrow at Patreon. If you haven't joined Patreon, it's click away at patreon.com/ET Whisperer, 11 and $22, and those are the 2 layers. Both of them get you access to the 2 extra channelings we do. And the channeling we're doing tomorrow is exactly like this, but a lot less questions because a lot less people are there. So a better chance of getting your question answered, and that's all that is. And then on the 15th, we do an in-depth where people suggest topics. Every suggestion goes up for a vote, and whatever wins, Aridif talks about
for an hour to an hour and a half in depth, that one topic. So if that's something that excites you, the link's inside the suggestion, guys. Love you guys with all my heart. I hate to do it, but we've got to go. Thank you, Kalina, for being here tonight and doing this, sweetie. I know it was not always easy with the baby. And thank all of you guys for being here, for being a part of our life. And I hope those of you who got your questions answered, it's helpful. And I hope those of you who didn't, that the answers to the other questions were helpful, as I find that's mostly the case.
Absolutely. I love you guys. Thank you for being here and spending your valuable time with us. I know there's a million things you could be doing and watching and experiencing right now. And we all chose to be together tonight and this morning or wherever you're at. Some of you are listening during the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. We really appreciate it.
Everybody, thank you guys with all of our heart. We love you so, so much, guys. We'll see you on the other side. We're actually going to be shooting, hopefully next weekend, some Galactic monthlies, and we hope maybe even to get some Galactic weeklies coming out. We'll have to see it. We'll have to see how it goes, guys. Love you, love you, love you, love you. And we'll see you guys on the other side. Love you.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Good night.